Well, the other big story this evening, Delhi University students could soon have to study Chetan Bhagat's 5-point Someone as part of their English curriculum. It's generated a heated debate, as you can imagine, with, as always, strong views, very strong views, in fact, on both sides. In fact, let me introduce my panel to you right away as we debate if this is the way forward. Are we calling it pop culture or literature? You can choose whichever side you want to be on. Joining me now, Chetan Bhagat, the man at the center of this controversy, Advaita Kala, writer and columnist, Anuva Pal, playwright, screenwriter and comedian, and in this Delhi studios, Professor Debraj Mukherjee. Thanks all so much for taking our time to be here with us this evening. Chetan Bhagat, let me start by asking you, are you taken aback by the response to your tweet? You were just saying there that it's possible the Delhi University students are going to get to read your book, and there's been a barrage of tweets that one has seen you get. You've also got some support, but there's been a fair amount of criticism, including some very harsh words, calling your work trashy and so on. How do you see the last couple of days and this kind of a response?
Hi guys, I mean, a couple of things. Firstly, I'm really honored that Delhi University has put me in the course. I don't think any student in the Delhi University really reads textbooks that much, but it's just nice to know that there is a textbook out there which is my book, and hopefully some of them will at least read it. I think, I don't know, I think it's about time, guys, media stops paying attention to trolls. Trolls want to get attention, so they will say things which, you know, are provoke people and everything, and if the media like kind of gives them credibility, it's a never ending cycle. But I think broadly I'm very happy about it, and these kind of reactions are expected. I've grown up my writing career through this since the day I have written my first book. The purists, the elites, they've all said that, you know, there is something called literature, and I think it's a question of a bad education system. It's this colonial conditioning. In the last 50 years, they've been told that this is good literature. Those books written 200 years ago are literature. This is not. And I think they are not even, as expected, ignorance. They are not even looking at what the course is. It's a popular fiction course, and if it's a popular fiction course, I would say that was my first book, which a lot of people, in fact, you guys, when you interview me, say this book has changed the way popular fiction works in India. So I think it's interesting to read it and figure out what the big, even if nothing, people can read and say, I don't know what the big deal is all about.
Don't know what the big deal is all about. Okay.
Studying, but to kind of have an elitist view on it is a bit strange.
Okay. Professor Mukherjee, is that part of the problem to all those who are opposing it? Is it sort of an elitism issue? Is that the problem here, you believe, that we don't believe that this is classy enough?
Well, thanks to Chetan Bhagat, a university syllabus is on national television. Usually we do this kind of work without too much attention from the media. So, see, I mean, nobody can defend the elitist argument. I mean, I am myself a popular culture person. I like doing popular culture studies. I like doing popular fiction. So per se, that argument goes out of the window. I mean, anybody, I mean, I think students should engage with texts that give them an entry point to contemporary issues and contemporary society, and a good commercial text, I think, would be a good entry point to such inquiries.
Then what's the problem?
I don't have anything personally either for or against Chetan Bhagat's literary oeuvre. I have read one of his novels, his latest, which is under some dispute now. I quite liked it, frankly. But if you look at the advent of commercial writing, commercial novels in India, I think there are novels prior to this particular text. There is Shobha De's Socialite Evenings, and there is Anurag Mathur's The Inscrutable Indians.
So I think Socialite Evenings will open up another debate of
nights. I think it's Socialite nights, not even the evenings. So and they've had longer traction and longer presence, and they also have some body of critical work on them.
So is your point, why not them? Is it? What's your point here then?
My point here is that any text, whether it's commercial or literary, has to have some body of work before being introduced into the university syllabus, because students have to think and read around them. So there are other texts that have more traction than possibly Chetan Bhagat's book.
Okay, Chetan, I'll let you respond to that. Would that be a fair point? Need a wider body of work before you're included
some body
in
of
this
work.
Syllabus?
Some body of work.
Okay, or perhaps a little more. Is that an argument that sort of you buy?
Okay, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's okay, fine, sir. I mean, it's but the committee who I am assuming that the committee who decided that, and I didn't influence them. They must have thought of something, no? They must have thought that maybe they thought of the fact that he's already written 7 books, or maybe they thought that his books are very popular, or a lot of people read it, or whatever it is, you know, or they touch on social issues. I don't know. Are you trying to say that your colleagues at the Delhi University who chose this are of don't have the ability to choose things properly? Are you saying that?
I'm just saying that they have I have an opinion which is...
Now you are in a logical discussion with me. Please tell, no, you feel that they haven't chosen, like the committee which chooses these courses are incapable of choosing?
Because the Delhi University has reached out to him to have this book included. It's not the other way. So
fair enough. I mean, nobody reaches out.
I mean, on what basis are you, I mean...
No, there are still places in this country where people can have differences of opinion. So I can have an opinion which is different from those who chose to include your book in the syllabus. Okay. My point is, look, I mean, I get it. This book is recommended for a general elective.
Then give an opinion. I think that's your opinion, and I respect it.
Excuse me, this book is included for a generic elective paper. It's not for an English honours student. So I get it. It's meant for students who are not students of literature per se, but are sort of being introduced.
But
it's one of the optional papers.
You're still not entirely comfortable with it.
I'm not comfortable with it because it kind of doesn't gel with the kind of paper, the other text in that.
Okay, let me get my other panelists in. Anubhav Pal, come in at this point.
I think it doesn't, and I think I'm very happy. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to say I'm very happy I don't gel. I'm here to break those walls. I'm here to and I think writers all through the ages are those who have broken norms and done something different. To say that it doesn't gel with the way my mindset is, maybe I don't gel, or maybe the mindset needs to change. I don't know.
Okay, standing firm in the face of that entire debate that's raging all around you, Chetan Bhagat. Anubhav Pal and Advaita. Anubhav, first, you've been smiling a lot for the last couple of minutes now.
Hi, guys.
You wanted to make a point, Anubhav. Go ahead.
Natasha, I think the Delhi University is falling short by just teaching the books of Chetan Bhagat. Given how much is written about Chetan, and for full disclosure, we've known each other a long time, given how much is written about him, I wonder why Chetan Bhagat is not a subject at Delhi University. I think for the number of people that have opinions on...
Maybe that's next, when that body of work becomes a bit bigger, wider, whatever word you use, maybe that's next. But yeah, go ahead.
Because
what he's suggesting is Chetan Bhagat himself should be the text.
Himself, that's right.
Yeah. Which would be actually a far more interesting phenomenon.
Okay.
Right. My point being that I think in India, the individual becomes bigger than the literature. I think Chetan's point is very valid when he says that once you send the literature out there, right, it's not for him to decide. He's not on the Delhi University committee deciding, right? Just like once you send literature out there, you can't control who hates it. You can't also control who teaches it at the university. Tomorrow, if a bunch of temples decide to teach it, or a bunch of priests decide to use it as a gospel, you can't control it. It's literature, right? Also, let's not forget that all the great writers from Dickens to Shakespeare, and I'm not saying Mr. Bhagat is in that canon, but clearly being taught at university he is, they were all popular writers of their time. You know, they were considered crass popular writers of their time. William Shakespeare, you know, would only write when you paid him, which made him a great writer and a very sensible one. So I think the question is, does it last, right? What is great literature? Does it last? So if we're having this conversation 100 years from now, and if Mr. Bhagat has lasted, then perhaps he's in the canon. But as of now,
that's
you
a
can't
good point,
deny
actually.
That that's popular literature.
That's a good point there. It comes down to, Advaita, just what is literature? Who's going to define what is good literature and bad literature and all of that? I think that may be at the heart of this debate. Advaita?
Actually, a simple answer to that is posterity decides, really. You know, I think no one else really can decide. I mean, most of the greats that we look at are you know, decades ago. And speaking of a body of work, I mean, you look at Harper Lee, you know, To Kill a Mockingbird. She didn't write a book after that for decades, and that was considered a modern classic and was taught and was critiqued and was PhDs done on it. So I think the body of work argument really falls short here. I think what's very clear is that it is popular fiction. Popular fiction, by definition, engages with contemporary social issues. It engages with a certain milieu. I think in that sense, I think Chetan has been able to do that effectively through his 7 books, which is quite a prolific output if you look at the fact that he's only been writing for a dozen years or a little more. So I think, you know, what you have here is a category of popular fiction which engages with contemporary issues. You have a certain generation that is reading his books. In a lot of ways, it is a gateway to other kinds of literature where a lot of people are not reading. And let's give our students a credit. Let's give our teachers credit. The study of these texts is just not blind digestion. It is critiquing, it is appreciating, it is arguing. And I think Chetan's work will offer all those opportunities to students. They like it, they love it, they'll hate it. And I think that's really what should be happening on campus.
Okay. We'll have to, of course, see how they respond to it, but they will respond to it. Professor Mukherjee, will that be the ultimate test, really? Posterity is one thing, but won't that be the ultimate test? You know, the students' reactions, the point that Advaita is making. Are they going to look at the paper? I mean...
No, and any teacher worth her salt would and should be able to use any text profitably. I mean, you can use a piece of advertising as text. You can use a discussion as text. You can use an incident as text. So I don't think using Chetan Bhagat's novel as a text will be particularly difficult. Because you have a situation where young people want to know the new world that is unfolding, and this kind of urban middle class concerns that
and a contemporary writer,
someone
that they're familiar with, someone that they know, they see, who's, you
and
know,
they read. I mean, they read even if it was. I admit to all of that. I am not contesting the usefulness of having such books in our syllabus, not at all. My only contention is that were there other texts with which this venture could have opened, because it's a new vista that you are sort of testing, and then I would pitch for an entire paper where Advaita, Kala, Anuja, Chauhan, Chetan Bhagat, all of them may be part of a paper which can be exclusively looked at as commercial fiction and not just popular fiction. There's a distinction between popular and commercial. I don't want to get into it, but I'm fine with that. Eventually.
Chetan, would you like to come in at this point? I also want to sort of just read out this to you that we got off news agency PTI.
I don't know what's the difference between. I'm sorry. I don't know what's the difference between popular and commercial fiction.
Okay, we're not going to get into that at this point. In fact, I want to.
Are happening, sir. You are much elder to me. I understand you don't think of much of my work. That's fine. That's up to you. But thankfully for me, a lot of my country does read me, and they've given me.
He is saying that he
I just said I enjoyed your latest book,
then have the guts to say that it's a good book. You know.
I just said I enjoyed your latest book.
So then say you enjoyed it. Don't try to, just because your friends will judge you. Yeah, I think that's very gutsy of you, because I think people are more concerned that what will my friends say. If you enjoyed it, have the guts, have some conviction.
I said it.
Say,
he's saying it.
I said it earlier as well. You won't
read the books. At least people in the DU will read the books now. And you don't want to keep it, don't keep it. Yeah, I didn't tell anyone to keep it. But how can you come and start criticizing like this? Like, if they have chosen, you're criticizing the committee, you're criticizing the book. On what basis? I enjoy Chetan Bhagat's book.
I can criticize. That's the beauty of it. But that's the beauty of it. I can criticize.
इसके क्यों निकल पड़ी? आपको बस ये है.
Okay, Anubhav Pal. Okay, one moment.
You're not criticizing.
One
then
moment.
you're saying,
Anubhav Pal, come in at this stage.
So two things on a lighter note. One, I'm sure the Delhi University. I'm sure the Delhi University has had many writers. I don't think I'd be wrong to say that no great writer ever featured in a university syllabus has also been a dance show judge. So I think that Chetan wins on that count, right? He definitely wins there. But then again, I think that there's a lot of, I mean, I make levity, but you know, I think that there is a lot of sort of super serious intellectualness. So what I mean is that the real judge of this is not going to be, when they say all sensible writers only become interesting writers when they're dead. What that means is that the literature alone is what is left to judge. Today, in the news sort of circus we live in, writers can come and defend themselves, win fans over individually or on a debate or by buying them dinner. But ultimately, none of that will last. Like Advaita said, what will last is the literature, right?
Absolutely.
And that will ultimately be the judge. So if this book lasts for the next 50 years, then, you know, like all things, Chetan's won.
Right, he will have the last laugh. Chetan Bhagat, on that note, I'm going to give you the last word on this. The debate,
I'm
sure,
is
not.
It lasts or not, guys. I mean.
Okay, carry on.
No, I'm just saying what he's saying is a definition of a classic. I'm just saying what he's saying is a definition of a classic, that it has posterity. I agree. But are you saying that students should only read classics if they are learning English honors? That's like saying if you open an IT company, unless it becomes a Google or a Facebook, all these companies in Bangalore are not good IT companies. Because only until it becomes that we will, that's called being high-handed.
Okay.
That's called saying that we only will, students should also read classics. And this is what students of Delhi University, sir,
Okay,
it was
but
in your
parents
Ramjas
could
College
also
only, they
argue
were
that,
behaving like goons. You
I
guys couldn't
think-
control your own students. They're
Okay,
hardly like some scholarly
Chetan
place.
Bhagat, I just have to,
You have to read
interrupt.
popular fiction.
I have to wrap
After
this up.
50 years, we'll shift the category of the novel. We'll shift it to the classic section.
Okay. Well, the last was not clearly not spoken on this one. Either the debate's still out there. Perhaps it's not just about one kind of literature, but the point that you made about popular literature also being open there, available to our students, and let them decide. Would you want your kid to study Chetan Bhagat along with Amitabh Ghosh or Vikram Seth? There are many perhaps who will choose either. Others who will say, why not have our students access all? What is so wrong with that? And then let them
By the
decide.
way, Tagore and Ghosh's novels have been removed from the syllabus. I mean,
I see.
that,
But
yeah, that is a bigger
not
story.
because of this inclusion.
Of course not.
No, not
Of
because
course
of
not.
this. Yeah,
I
because
just
there
mentioned
was
it in
some
passing.
confusion
I
earlier
didn't
that it was
remove it,
because of
sir.
this.
No,
But
no,
it's
no,
really
no, I'm not
right.
saying that. I'm not
It's not because. But I'm afraid I just have to wrap. Chetan Bhagat, thanks for your time, and let's hope that the trolling now does come to an end. Adwaita Kala, Nuvapal, and Mr. Mukherjee, thanks all so much for taking our time to speak to us. Well, then it's a wrap on that note on Left, Right, and Centre. See you same time tomorrow. Goodbye. Good night.